Swiss chard is really gorgeous too.
This one?
Or that one.
Oh yeah, that one's really pretty.
Okay.
So this is our hydroponic window farm, and it's all edible food that we have. We have 60 plants, and we have herbs. We have edible flowers, tomatoes, beans, peppers, all sorts of stuff.
And this is a hydroponic system, which means that there's actually no soil for these plants to be growing in. They're actually growing in just a bunch of little clay pellets that the roots are sitting in. And then there's water that has all of the nutrients that they need dissolved in it. And it's constantly trickling down through every one of these columns. And if you look down at the bottom, we've got just a sewer pipe. And that is acting as a reservoir where we put all the water and mix in the nutrients. And then over here on the right-hand side, there is a pump. And once every few hours, that pump is on a timer, and it turns on. Ooh, it turned on just in time. And so it is pumping water out of this bottom pipe all the way up to a similar pipe at the top. And then that pipe at the top has holes in it, which trickle down into the top of each column. So all of these plants are getting the water and nutrients directly to their roots, which means that their roots don't have to work as hard as they do in soil to get everything that they need.
And the nice thing about the reason why we designed the system like this is because we were thinking a lot about, we wanted to grow our own food, and we live in New York City and we don't have access to our roofs and we don't have access to any land. And so we wanted to grow it, but we didn't have a lot of space in our apartments either.
Horizontal space is worth a lot of money in New York City.
Yeah. And also we were reading a lot about how just, writers like Michael Pollan talk about how the best thing that you could possibly do for the environment is actually just growing even a little bit of your own food. And when that was posted on his blog, so many comments were about, I live in a city, there's no way I can grow my own food. But, as we were looking at it, we thought there's got to be a way. And we started looking at hydroponics, and hydroponics is so great because you can go vertical, it doesn't take up a lot of space, and because of the nature of the way that the plants get the nutrients, they actually can produce a lot more in a smaller amount of space and much faster. So it works out perfectly, and they're very lightweight. They're not very dirty. It's a super clean system. It's what NASA uses on the space station to grow food because they can't really have dirt. And so we modified some typical hydroponic systems and came up with this design. And also, our intention is to make it really inexpensive and really accessible to people, so you can get most of the components at your local hardware store. You don't have to buy lots of super expensive specialty materials.
Yeah. And the good thing about it is that it's hyper-local food. I mean, you're making it in your own apartment, or growing it in your own apartment. And it's estimated that 1/3 of our nation's carbon footprint comes from the process that brings us our food. So big agriculture as well as all of the transportation. And we're very interested in finding out what the carbon footprint of this particular system is going to be and what that breaks down to on a salad by salad basis or something like that. And we're still kind of working on that. But as you can see, we're using compact fluorescent bulbs to help grow these plants, because these ones are in a north-facing window in the middle of a city, and they don't get any, I don't think they get any direct light at all. So, but the latest generation of compact fluorescent bulbs that you can just get at your local hardware store, if you get them in the far blue end of the spectrum, they now come in high enough wattages and in this proper color so that they can actually grow the plants themselves.
Wow.
And this has only just recently become possible.
I was going to say, how much would you estimate your electric bill is on?
For this system, we're not really sure because we just put it in, and this is like kind of a big space, so
right.
we're not able to track it as easily. But the one that we have in my apartment building, my electric bill increased by somewhere between $5 and $10 a month.
And she had 25 plants in a typical size kind of kitchen apartment window. So it was a lot of food growing just in an apartment space. And, a more compact system than this. This is obviously built for a very huge window, but our initial designs were about building for typical apartment spaces or like, you know, small office windows and things like that.
Sure.
Yeah, and there I was growing a lot more of the things like lettuce and herbs, and not as much of the bigger plants that we have in here.
Well, it's really impressive.
I wish we had pictures.
What has your reaction been if people have just walking by and they see it? Do they come in? Do they ask questions? Do they ignore it?
Yeah. You know, we have lots of people who come by and are really interested, and a lot of people ask how they can make their own, and they want to find out more. We've had, just through our website, we've had, you know, people from all over the world in cities everywhere who are interested in how they can build their own. And one of the most exciting parts of the project for us is really this aspect of encouraging people to come up with their own designs and their own variations on the system. Things that are both really functional in terms of bringing down the cost of the system even more, or things that are easier for people to actually make, but also coming up with different designs for how the containers look and how they're hung, because we really want things that people will love for their own space, you know, that it's something that they have to live with and see every day, and so it should be something that really goes with their particular sensibilities. Yeah. So even, you know, you were saying you want to knit things for your containers, and that's the sort of thing that we really we're building this website so that people can share with each other and inspire each other to make all these different designs.
Yeah, we call that process research and develop it yourself, or R&DIY. And the concept there is just that we don't have to just wait around for the big science organizations to come up with solutions to these environmental problems, especially since those of us who are kind of the end users of all of these processes or products that they come up with, we know best what it is that will work for us. And there's no reason why we can't just pitch in and share information with one another to get to the point where we're really making something that we can implement now that will solve the big environmental problems that are bigger than just changing out our light bulbs or you know, recycling in our neighborhood. We've gotten what seems to look like it's going to be our kind of kit package. All of the materials for that are about $100 to $120. And then you need to buy some nutrient solution to periodically, you know, refill it. And so the maintenance costs with that are probably going to be about another $15 a year.
So it's completely affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, maybe you might actually be producing some pretty expensive lettuce, but over time, maybe it will make sense.